Every time you copy something on your computer, Windows may be saving it, not briefly, not temporarily, but as part of a running history you were never clearly asked to approve. Most people assume the clipboard is simple. You copy something, you paste it, it disappears. That assumption is wrong. Right now, more than 1 billion devices are running Windows 11, and on hundreds of millions of those machines, a feature called Clipboard History is quietly recording everything users copy and paste. Passwords, bank account numbers, private messages, one-time verification codes, cryptocurrency wallet addresses, all captured in the background. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not a bug, and it is not the result of malicious software. Clipboard History was introduced with the Windows 10 October 2018 update and carried forward into Windows 11. What security researchers later uncovered about how this feature stores data is far more invasive than most users ever realize. Microsoft markets Clipboard History as a productivity feature, but the reality is this: every time you press copy, Windows can add another entry to a searchable database of your most sensitive information. That data is stored locally on your hard drive in a readable form. In some configurations, it's also synced through Microsoft's cloud infrastructure. Most people have no idea this is happening. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly where this data lives, who can access it, why it represents a genuine security vulnerability, and most importantly, how to disable it completely. Because the convenience of saving a few clipboard items is not worth exposing your entire digital life. Here's what Microsoft wants you to believe. When the company launched Clipboard History in October 2018 as part of the Windows 10 October 2018 update, it positioned the feature as a simple productivity upgrade. Instead of the traditional clipboard, that only remembers your most recent copy. Clipboard History saves everything you copy or cut. Text and images up to 4 megabytes in size, organized into an interface you can access at any time. Press the Windows key and the letter V, and a panel appears showing your recent clipboard items. You can paste older entries, pin frequently used content, or delete items you no longer need. Microsoft also added a sync feature using the same cloud systems behind Windows Timeline, allowing your clipboard to follow you across every Windows device linked to your Microsoft account. On paper, it sounds convenient. Copy text on your desktop, paste it on your laptop, save a snippet of code or a phone number, and reuse it whenever you need it. Microsoft framed this as seamless productivity, reducing friction between devices. What it did not emphasize is what happens to that data after you copy it, where it is stored, how long it remains accessible, and how easily someone else could read it. Security researchers and privacy advocates began examining Clipboard History almost immediately after its release, and what they found was deeply troubling. The first and most fundamental problem is that clipboard data is stored in plain text. That means everything you copy, whether it is a password, a credit card number, or a confidential email, sits on your hard drive completely unencrypted and readable by any process or application with sufficient access. Researchers at multiple institutions confirmed this through direct testing. One experiment involved copying fake credit card numbers and passwords into the clipboard, then analyzing where and how Windows stored that information. They discovered that the clipboard database is not hidden, not encrypted, and not protected by any meaningful access controls beyond standard user permissions. Any malware running on your system, any script with elevated privileges, or even another user with access to your computer can read your entire clipboard history as easily as opening a text file. This is not theoretical. Academic research published in peer-reviewed computer security proceedings documented real-world clipboard hijacking attacks where malware monitors clipboard activity in real time, waiting for users to copy cryptocurrency wallet addresses or banking credentials. The malware does not even need to be particularly sophisticated. It simply uses standard Windows APIs to watch the clipboard and extract whatever you copy. And here's the part most people get wrong. You probably think I do not let strangers use my laptop, so I am safe. But that assumption ignores two critical attack vectors. First, malware does not ask permission. It arrives through phishing emails, malicious downloads, or compromised websites. And once it is on your system, it has the same access to your clipboard that any legitimate application does. Second, your clipboard history does not just live on your computer. If you have enabled the sync feature, which Windows encourages during setup, that data is uploaded to Microsoft cloud servers. And according to multiple security analyses, that synced clipboard data does not support end-to-end encryption. That means Microsoft, or anyone who gains access to your Microsoft account through credential theft or account compromise, can potentially view everything you have copied across all your devices. The regulatory response to Windows telemetry and data collection practices has been measured but significant. The United Kingdom Information Commissioner Office, which enforces GDPR compliance, has established clear guidance that companies must report personal data breaches within 72 hours if the breach poses a risk to individuals' rights and freedoms. While the ICO has not publicly announced a specific investigation into Windows Clipboard history, the feature falls squarely within the scope of the GDPR data minimization principle. Under GDPR, organizations must limit data collection to what is strictly necessary for the stated purpose. Clipboard history, which records everything a user copies regardless of necessity and stores it indefinitely by default, arguably violates this principle. Privacy advocacy groups have been vocal in their criticism. Digital rights organizations have consistently called for transparency in telemetry data collection, leading Microsoft to introduce the Diagnostic Data Viewer tool, which allows users to inspect what information Windows sends to Microsoft servers. However, privacy advocates argue that transparency alone is insufficient. The fundamental issue is that Windows 11 does not provide users with a complete off switch for required diagnostic data. You can choose between required and optional telemetry, but you cannot disable data collection entirely on retail editions of the operating system. Critics point to this as evidence that Microsoft prioritizes its own data gathering interests over user privacy, particularly when features like Clipboard history are enabled by default and buried in settings most users never explore. Now, let us talk about what this means for real people in real situations. I am not going to claim specific named victims exist, because that would be irresponsible, but let me describe realistic scenarios based on documented categories of risk, so you understand exactly what is at stake. Imagine a person who works as a therapist or counselor. They are writing case notes on their Windows laptop, copying excerpts from patient communications to organize their records. Every time they hit Ctrl+C, Windows is saving those notes, which contain deeply sensitive mental health information protected by strict confidentiality laws, into a searchable database on their hard drive. If their laptop is stolen, if they send it in for repair, if malware infects their system, or if they back up their computer to an external drive that later gets compromised, that entire Clipboard history could be exposed. Now consider someone in a domestic violence situation. They are using a shared computer to research shelters, copy phone numbers for support services, or communicate with an attorney. If Clipboard history is enabled, their abusive partner can press Windows key plus V and see everything they have been planning. This is not paranoia. Privacy defenders specifically raise this exact concern when criticizing Microsoft Recall feature, another Windows 11 capability that takes screenshots of user activity every few seconds. The principle is identical. Features designed for convenience become tools for surveillance when they store sensitive information without adequate protection. Or think about a financial professional who frequently copies client bank account numbers, social security numbers, or investment details. That data, sitting unencrypted in their Clipboard history, represents a massive liability if their system is compromised. And here's the critical point. It only takes one moment, one copied password, one bank routing number, one confidential contract clause. That is all it takes for Clipboard history to become a permanent record of your most sensitive information, accessible to anyone or anything that gains access to your computer or your cloud-synced Microsoft account. After the intense backlash against Windows Recall, Microsoft did make changes to how some of its data collection features work, though the company has been far less responsive regarding Clipboard history. With Recall, Microsoft eventually shifted from enabling the feature by default to making it opt-in, implemented Windows Hello authentication, and added automated content filtering to prevent sensitive data, like credit card numbers, from being captured. But even those changes did not fully address the concerns. Researchers have already demonstrated that the automated filtering can be bypassed, allowing some credit card information to slip through. And the Windows Hello requirement, while better than nothing, falls back to a simple PIN for authentication, which security experts argue is far too weak a protection for a database containing screenshots of everything you have done on your computer. Clipboard history has received no such overhaul. It remains fundamentally unchanged from its 2018 design. The data is still stored in plain text. The sync feature still uploads your clipboard to the Microsoft Cloud without end-to-end encryption. And perhaps most importantly, the feature is still enabled by default on many new Windows installations, meaning millions of users have no idea it is even active. Microsoft's position appears to be that encrypting clipboard data would slow down the copy and paste process. But that explanation rings hollow when you consider that modern processors handle encryption and decryption of far larger datasets in milliseconds. The real issue is that securing the clipboard properly would require fundamental architectural changes to how Windows handles this data, and Microsoft has shown little inclination to prioritize that work. So what you are left with is a feature that offers minor convenience at the cost of a major security risk. Your entire clipboard history is protected by nothing more than your Windows login, which in many cases is just a 4-digit PIN or a simple password. That is the equivalent of storing your most valuable documents in a storage unit secured by a bicycle lock. It might keep out casual passersby, but anyone with basic tools and intent can get through. So what can you actually do about this? The good news is that disabling clipboard history is straightforward once you know where to look. Here is exactly what you need to do. First, disable clipboard history itself. Click the Start menu, type Clipboard Settings, and press Enter. You will see a settings page with a toggle labeled Clipboard History. Turn that off. While you are on that same page, also toggle off Suggested Actions, which is another data collection feature tied to clipboard activity. Second, clear any existing clipboard data that Windows has already stored. In the same Clipboard Settings window, you will see an option to clear clipboard data. Click that button. This deletes everything Windows has saved up to this point. Third, verify that Cloud Sync is disabled. Go to Settings, then Accounts, then Windows Backup. Scroll down to a section called Remember My Preferences. Make sure the toggle for other Windows settings is turned off. This prevents your clipboard data from being backed up to OneDrive or synced across devices. And fourth, for those who want to take additional steps, go to Settings, then Privacy and Security, then Diagnostics and Feedback. Set your diagnostic data level to Required, which is the minimum Windows allows. Turn off Improve Inking and Typing and disable Tailored Experiences. These changes will not give you complete privacy, because Windows 11 does not allow you to turn off all telemetry on retail editions, but they will significantly reduce how much of your personal activity Microsoft collects and stores. Once you have made these changes, your clipboard will work the way it always should have. When you copy something, it stays in temporary memory only until you copy something else or restart your computer. It does not get logged, it does not get synced, and it does not create a permanent record that could be exploited. Your operating system does not just work for you anymore. It works for the company that made it, collecting data, building profiles, and prioritizing its own interests over your privacy. The question is whether you are willing to accept that trade-off. You have two simple options right now. Option 1, go into your settings and disable clipboard history following the steps I just outlined. Take back control of your own data. Option 2, share this video with someone you know who uses Windows, because the vast majority of users have no idea this feature even exists, let alone that it is recording everything they copy. Drop a comment below and tell me which option you chose. I want to know if this video actually changed how you use your computer. And if you want to see me investigate another hidden Windows feature or dive into privacy issues on macOS or Android, let me know what topic to cover next. Because the more people understand how their devices really work, the harder it becomes for companies to treat our privacy as an optional feature. Thanks for watching. Like the video, share it with others, and subscribe to stay ahead of every major tech update.